Hi, folks, and welcome to our summer classes success video. I'm going to be going over some strategies for how to do really well in your summer classes, despite the fact that they're very different from your normal semester classes. So let's get started. First of all, they move really fast because the summer is about the length of one semester, but we divide the summer into two sessions. So that means that your class will either be 4 weeks or 6 weeks long compared to the normal 15 weeks of a normal semester. So on the plus side, you can't take that many classes at once. We cap you at 8 credits as opposed to 19 and a half credits during a normal semester. But many of you are taking summer classes while working or doing an internship, or you're responsible for taking care of your siblings or other family members. So we understand that these summer classes happen when your life is already busy. Sometimes it's just a matter of you're living at home instead of on campus, so life is a little bit different. Maybe you have to commute. There are other things thrown into the mix. So, with that in mind, we have some strategies to help you succeed. And they're simple, but they're going to be effective. So, first, schedule. Most students do keep some kind of schedule during the school year, but in the summer, because these classes move faster, it's even more important. It is everything. So if you don't keep a calendar right now, you need to start. And you can keep a physical one in a planner if you like that. You just need to make sure you bring your planner with you everywhere. Or you can use a digital tool like Google Calendar, which is what we use at UMBC because UMBC is a Google campus. Or you can use your phone or tablet's integrated calendar system. There is no best calendar. The best calendar is the one you're going to use, like really use, really commit to using. And then ideally, you're going to continue using this calendar throughout the school year. And maybe this is the calendar that you already use, but we might just need to amp it up a little bit, spend a little bit more time fixing it, making sure it's really going to work for you. So, first things first, we hit the syllabus. This is the same thing that we do during the regular semester. The syllabus is the first place we start. So it's your lifeline. You're familiar with what it is. It's basically a contract between you and the professor for the rules of the class. How am I going to get this grade or that grade? It gives you a grade breakdown. It gives you dates that you need to know, gives you course policies. It's very important to read it. But again, in the summer, because classes move a lot faster, you have less room for error. If you have a couple bad weeks in the regular semester, the schedule adjustment period isn't even over. But if you have a couple bad weeks in the summer, that could be half the class or a third of the class. That's a very big difference. So read the syllabus thoroughly on day one. And here are things to add to your calendar. Class, this is like times of class and the place where class happens. Discussions, again, those might be in person. Classes aren't always in person. Keep this in mind. It might be online asynchronous, it might be online synchronous, might be in person. We have different types of classes, of course, for the summer, just like we do during the school year. Might have labs. So add those times to your calendars, then add your assignment due dates, and then add your exams. Personally, I would even put my homework due dates into that calendar because there's a lot of homework because this moves quickly. If you have an asynchronous class, there are no class times, so you need to put in time in your calendar when you're going to actually complete the work, watch the videos, complete the modules, whatever the class involves. You need to actually schedule time to do that because then you're actually more likely to do it on time. And it's very important to do it on time because, again, 1 day late in the summer is like 3 days late in the semester. So it makes a big difference. So put them into your calendar, make sure that you actually know what's going on. Now, the reason that you need to read it thoroughly, other than the fact that it moves faster, is that there also might be things that change in summer classes. So, for instance, if you need help, we don't have tutoring available in the same way we do during the school year. Tutoring is still available in the summer, but it is diminished significantly because there are far fewer classes going on. So the syllabus will tell you which resources will be the most helpful and when you can find the professor at office hours. You might you might also not have SI pass in the summer. Keep that in mind. That might be something that you really rely on during the school year that just doesn't exist in the summer because the class is smaller. So you need to make sure that you understand your options. And if you want to use the tutoring center, you need to make a note to check their website, understand what's available, and The link to the Academic Success Center tutoring is in the description box of this video if you need it. We definitely recommend checking it out. But a lot of the time, the summer class is a course that a student will be repeating because they didn't pass it in the summer, and it's a prerequisite for something that they're going to take in the fall. So if you fall into this category, it's doubly important to read that syllabus thoroughly because you've already taken that class and you might have expectations for what is available to you that might have changed. So your experience will definitely be very different taking it in the summer. Next thing that really worries a lot of people about summer classes is that, again, because it moves fast, you have to absorb the material a lot faster. So, how do you do this? The main thing that helps most students is routines. Because if you get a routine in, this creates a system for you, and it's pretty easy to follow systems once they're established. So, how do we make a system? Number one, commit to attending class every single day unless a serious emergency arises. This should probably be your number one priority during the school year as well. But again, missing one class in the school year is one class. That's in the summer, you could be missing, that could be the equivalent of missing three classes because it moves so much faster. So, really commit to attending class every day. There are, of course, emergencies. You should know that what the policy is for missing class and be able to get in touch with your professor to check what you need to do if you do miss class. The next thing, take a break after class before you start doing your homework for the class to let your brain relax for a little while. The ideal time is 1 to 2 hours, and then schedule 2 blocks of time, 60 to 90 minutes each, every day for homework and studying. Now, keep in mind, this is not a one size fits all type of system, but it will help most folks. And a lot of people might think this is way too much. But again, this is moving quickly, and you need to make sure that you actually absorb all this material. It's important that you really put the work in if you want to do well in the class and be prepared for the next class you need to take in the sequence if it's a prerequisite or something. So if you have class in the morning, it's probably good to have a block of time in the early afternoon, maybe the middle of the afternoon, and then one in the later afternoon or the evening, depending on when your first block of study was. And this will help you a lot. So let's talk about how to kind of like what to do during those blocks. Okay, so for chem, math, physics, any class that has like problems that you're trying to solve, and that's kind of the exam situation, we want to be spending the first block of the time in that day doing assigned work. So this might be problem sets, modules, assignments, absorbing the material. If you are expected to do pre work for lectures, whatever it is, this is graded work. Now, you might not even finish your graded work in this time, and that's okay. You can do some of it in the second block of time for the day, whatever kind of makes the most sense to you. You also might need less time or more time than 60 to 90 minutes times two every day, depending on how familiar you are with the content and how easy or difficult it is for you to absorb that material. So, the second block, we should probably be spending practicing those problems. So, what still needs work? You know, based on how you performed in your homework, what you understood during the modules or assignments. What did I get right away? Okay, I probably don't need to practice that. Maybe do one or two problems in that kind of realm, but like that's really just, that's fine. We're just fine tuning that. Then there's going to be stuff that you don't know as well. That's what you need to spend time practicing. So do practice problems. You need to know where you're getting those problems. So is there a textbook available? Does it have practice problems in it? Most students underutilize textbooks these days because they're digital and they're not like sitting on your desk. But the textbook is a very good resource. Almost every single class at UMBC still has a textbook. And keep in mind, you pay to use that textbook. So you should probably use it because it could probably be a pretty good resource for you. So oftentimes there are practice problems in the textbooks. Usually there will be an answer key in the back to like every other problem. Sometimes textbooks will show you a whole worked out solution. We see those in math textbooks more often than anything else. And those are really helpful. So check those answers. And oftentimes you're not going to get the whole solution. You're just going to get this is the answer. So if you got the answer wrong, the first thing to do is troubleshoot. So go back to your notes, go back to the textbook, go back to the module, whatever you're, using to absorb material. Um, that is what you need to consult in order to try and do the problem again correctly. Now, most of the time you've missed a small detail, and so you just need to go back and figure out where that thing is that you missed. Was it a conversion factor? Did you, mess up a fraction, whatever it was, figure out where you made the mistake and really try to figure that out yourself. Because if you can figure it out, your brain will kind of absorb that mistake and understand what it needs to do next time to avoid that mistake because it's going to remember what it did. Now, if you're really stuck, obviously the tutoring center is a wonderful resource when you can use it. And your professor will have office hours that you can check with them. That's really good strategy as well. But we always say last resort, chat gpt or another ai system. Sometimes courses actually have it built in, so we're not asking chat gpt to give us the answer to every problem. We're saying, okay, I've tried this 2 or 3 times and I really cannot get the right answer, and I need to know how to get the right answer by the end of the study session because it's important to me that I understand how to solve every problem. So you're using chat gpt to ask you how to solve a problem. You're reading the solution, using their solution to figure out where you went wrong, this pinpoint the spot, and then use what they did to go and try to do a couple more problems in a similar way. Make sure you get those answers right. You can also use ChatGPT to try to find the answer to a specific practice problem if there's like certain practice problems that aren't, the answers aren't in the textbook or available to you. You could try to use it for that just to check your answers. So we're using AI in a really productive way. We're not using it to learn for us because AI can't learn for us. There are no shortcuts, but we're using it in a productive way that is enhancing our learning and not acting as a crutch or a handicap. So, biology or content-based courses. Okay. Number one, the one right after class, the block of time after class, whether that's in the, at the end of the day or kind of in the middle of the day. But like if you have class in the middle of the day, we're probably going to put the first study block at the, in the morning. So sometime in the afternoon. We're going to organize our knowledge, re-answer learning objectives if those are available on slides. Some professors love learning objectives and they put them on slides. Make sure you try to answer them from your memory first and then create some flashcards. So when you do something like this, you're either, organizing notes or trying to understand what you were supposed to have taken away from that lecture. You're kind of coming up with a big picture. If the learning objectives, aren't on slides or anything, you can try to do a quick summary of class and take down notes for all the things you do remember from what you learned, and then kind of go back to your slides, check, make sure you got those things right, and ideally create some flashcards because flashcards are something you can use every day to just make sure that you're practicing the material and learning it and absorbing it. So before class or later in the day, whichever makes the most sense. Like if you have class in the morning, we're going to do this kind of later in the day, but if you have class midday, maybe we'll do it before class. Prepare for the following class by reading textbooks or assigned materials, whatever is kind of pre-work for your class, doing assigned material of whatever that means, like a homework assignment or anything else. You can also spend this time creating flashcards out of the material. It's not bad to have two different, sets of flashcards all in the same kind of, you know, area. Like if you're using Anki, they can all be in the same deck, is what I'm saying. But, there's no harm in making sure you have a couple of flashcards that are, overlapping in information rather than having those blank spots. So that's not a bad thing to do. And keep in mind that you need to practice those flashcards every day, ideally in like 10-minute chunks spread throughout the day, 2, 3, 4 times, depending on how much you need to practice that material. That's how you're going to get it into your brain, is by repetition, but not just by reading notes, but actually active recall practice. So actively trying to recall that material, that's how you're going to learn it. Now, keep in mind that consistency is better than motivation. There might be a lot of days when you have no interest in the grind, and summer classes are such a grind. It's warm outside. Your friends are doing other things. There's just other things going on. Your life is really different. You want to spend time outside. Maybe you're working. So it's hard to get yourself to sit down and do the work for class and get yourself to class every day when it's like 2 or 3 hours compared to the normal 1 hour that you sit in class. But if you can be consistent, this will be so beneficial to you. And if you have a really solid schedule, you can commit to a routine, you will have a high chance of success. So Do not make excuses, do not take shortcuts. Use your calendar, schedule those blocks of time, make sure you know where you're going to be for those blocks of time, make sure you know what you're going to do for those blocks of time. The best situation is actually schedule them the day before, or make sure that your routine is so solid that you always know where you're going to go and what you're going to do. The Having expectations set in advance really helps your willpower to sit down and do this. Summer's hot. Make sure you always have a water bottle so you're hydrated. You've got fuel on board, you've got snacks with you, that kind of thing. All these things are going to make you a better student in the fall, because creating routines is something you can consistently do every semester. And if you become good at creating routines, you will be a better student all the time. And that's all for now. This is the beginning of summer classes. We might have more videos later on in the summer with more specific tips, but thanks so much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful first week of summer classes. And yeah, go get that work done, create those great systems, and be consistent. We're so proud of you. See you next time.